Welcome or welcome back. My name is Monique, and I am on a financial health journey in order to create an inheritance for the generations to come. And I want to do that through consistency and discipline. So I've had a lot of upheaval over the last couple of weeks, but within the last couple of days, I have made a lot of decisions and had a lot of actions that I took. And now I'm deciding to sit down and see whether or not those things made sense to do. They feel like they did, but we'll find out. So I am here to do a semi-debt confession, I guess, but also talk through my debt repayment plan, how I plan on getting out of debt. It is the next step in my process. I've worked through whether or not I can be consistent and disciplined as far as not swiping a credit card, and I have been able to achieve that. Have not swiped a credit card in over a year. That's the first thing. Number two, I want to see and track my variable expenses. So I am in the process of doing that now. So we're working through that. And then the third thing now is to understand my debt. So there are a lot of different methodologies out there around how you can attack your debt. First, you got to understand it, of course, and then you got to figure out a plan. I've seen snowballs, I've seen avalanches as far as the Dave Ramsey inspired methods, and those have never been really sexy to me. I don't know what the right answer is, but I have been checking into a lot of things and looking at a lot of videos. So I did go down the rabbit hole of velocity banking. I did realize that's a big fat no for me because I don't have any true credit card debt. At the end of the day, I have one credit card, Discover, that's been in play, and as of 8/21, that balance is now zero. So I don't have any credit card debt. And for velocity banking to really work to your advantage or to your benefit, it is using a credit card in order to get that done. Now, although I'm not going to do velocity banking, I did watch a specific YouTuber ask me how to budget, I think is her name, and she offers this credit worksheet for free on her website. You can go to one of her YouTube videos, and she has the link always in the description. And I love this credit worksheet because separating out my debt into these three categories have helped me to figure out a better plan on how I want to attack it for two reasons. Number one, is it something that I can actually repurpose, use again at all, or would want to use it at all? Is it something that I'm currently paying an interest rate on, of course, but then also what am I kind of tied to a little bit? Meaning, any of these debts that I have, are they things that I may find myself needing again in the future? And so I kind of looked at it a little differently using this credit worksheet. I'm glad she put it together. I will post though to make sure that is her name. Ask me how to budget, and if it is, I'll add it here so that you guys are aware. But let's go ahead and get started. So she divides up her credit in three categories. You have private label credit cards. We're going to come back to this one. I'm going to go bottom up. But basically, private label means you can only use that credit at that store. Cannot use it for general purposes. Next is your general purpose credit cards. And what that looks like, you can use it anywhere, pretty much at any time. And then the third is installment debt. And installment debt is where you may owe money to a creditor, or a service provider, some type of loan provider, but you cannot go back to them to get, in essence, to get more credit for a particular event. So I'm going to try and tackle that one first. And then, like I said, we're going to move back up from there. So installment debt. So this is what I've got for installment debt currently. What I like about this worksheet is that it not only requires you to give the balance, it asks you, is there a limit to the amount of credit that you have for these installments? It's going to be a dash for me. The credit utilization, now that's not big here, but it will be up here, up at the top when we talk through private label credit cards. my payment amount, and then the interest rate that I have. And then they have a spot here for your daily cost, what it is costing you daily to have that particular credit. I think that is very important for velocity banking. I don't think it's important for the way that I'm going to use this spreadsheet. So we're going to leave that blank. So as you can see, I have my mortgage. It's at 110,736. My payments are 808, and I have a 3.9% interest rate, which really isn't that bad. Green Sky is a loan provider that I used for getting my AC unit back in 2019. At that time, the bill was around $8,000. It's currently $5,847. I pay about $90 a month, and the interest rate is 9.9%. Still not too bad. Not great, but not too bad. Bridgecrest is my new car loan provider. The car amount is $28,373. My payment is the exact same amount that it was for the Kia that I traded in. So my Kia was $403.34, and Bridgecrest is going to be $403 even, and that's at an 8.3% interest rate. And then Nelnet. So my daughter pays her student loans that she has through Sallie Mae by paying me rent, and then I use some of that money to pay her student loans. But I also had to sign off for 2 loans for her through Nelnet her sophomore year, I think it was, in college, and that's what these are. They have been on pause during the pandemic. I did file for the relief, student debt relief. We know what happened with that, so these payments will get started up soon. I do not know the balance on this. I know it's around $11,000, but I don't know the exact amount. Not going to worry about limit or utilization. The payment that I had before was $86. It's an auto draft. They did send me a note and said they're just going to resume at that same amount for right now. And I do remember that the interest rate was 13.4% because it was the exact same amount that I was paying for the Sallie Mae ones, or that my daughter was paying for the Sallie Mae ones. So for the installment debt, we're not going to do anything with these just yet. We're going to tackle private label first, and then we'll move to installment debt as we see fit or as I can. Next is general purpose credit card. So the general purpose credit card, I only have one, Discover. When I received this card back in October of last year, I received a 0% balance transfer introductory offer. I did take advantage of that offer. I rolled over the 2 credit cards that I had at that time, credit one for $2,800 and another credit one for $1,300. And you'll notice this is a little bit higher, but that's because of the balance transfer amount as well. So roughly, and these are rough figures, but roughly it was about $4,300 that I had to take care of over the past year. It was tough. It was not easy at all. But on August the 21st, I made my last payment, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So for Discover, my balance currently is 0. My limit is $7,000. It's 0% utilization, which is good. So utilization is the amount of the credit that you have utilized. And overall, this particular YouTuber and some others as well would always say, I think I even see it on Experian or other things where they talk through credit utilization. You want to make sure that that number is less than 30%, right? And if it's less than 30%, that's good. It's better if it's less than 20%. It's great if it's less than 10% utilization, and it's fantastic if it's less than 7%, right? So I'm going at first for 30% utilization. I want to make sure all of my numbers are lower than that, and then we'll go from there. You know, if I can get it lower, even lower than that, then great. Right now, there is a 0% introductory offer available again for balance transfers. So from now until August the 29th, it was actually for the entire month of August, I can transfer a balance over at 0% interest for 12 months. Now, I was doing a payment of $200 for the $4,300 that I had to pay off. But it took that, and it took several savings challenges, and it took not eating. Not that it was not eating, but it took a lot in order to put everything together to make sure this $4,300 was paid. I don't want to go to that level again of restriction if I can help it, but I do know that I can comfortably pay $200 a month as needed for this Discover bill, and I want to take advantage of the 0% balance transfer that is still in play until August the 29th. Okay, so and that will be important for this other piece that we're going to talk through. So we talked about installment debt, general purpose debt. Here's the one where, of course, I'm going to start to tackle immediately, and that's the private label credit cards. So I did write down a few numbers, and I'll just jot those down really quickly here now. And I did not remember to, let me go ahead and put this up a little bit. I did not remember to add together all of my installment debt to see where I was. So let me do that really quick. 1110,736 plus 5847 plus 28,373 plus, and I'm gonna say, I know it's between 11 and 12,000, so I'm gonna say 11,500. That number might be off a little bit, but I'm gonna say 11,500 for nail net for right now. So I'm gonna plus that out, plus 11,500 equals 156,456. Let's get in there close. 156,456. And that number doesn't scare me, surprisingly, not yet. But we'll see how I feel later. Right now, the general purpose is 0, but I'm not going to put that 0 because we need to go ahead and put into play what my next debt that I'm going to tackle is, and that amount will be a balance transfer to Discover prior to August the 29th when that offer is over. All right, so let's go to Best Buy. For Best Buy, my current balance is $2,065, and my limit is $4,800. I'll figure out my utilization in a minute. All right, so it's $2,065 balance, $4,800 limit. My payment right now is roughly about $75 a month. And my interest rate is a horrible 30.2%. Please don't ask me why I signed up for a card with 30.2%. Just when you know better, you do better. So that's the numbers for that one. To figure out my utilization, I'm going to take that 2065. And I may have to bring it out just a little bit. So 2065 divided by 4,800 equals 43%. So I'm basically about 43% utilization. Remember, we're trying to get under 30% here. Okay, rooms to go. Rooms to go. My balance is $2,015. My limit is $10,000. My payment is $168. And the rooms to go card that I got when I ordered my furniture was at a 0% interest rate for 12 months. So I'm currently at 0%. I did not get anything else other than the den furniture, so that's why it's so low compared to what I was approved for. And if you factor in that they are charging me a minimum payment of $168, and I couldn't figure out why it was so high, because that seemed really high for a $2,000 balance. But if you multiply that by 12, and Rooms to Go is already saying, hey, if you pay $168 minimum every month, then you will be paid off in the 12-month time period that you have the 0% interest. So they didn't give me a minimum payment of like $25 or $30 where I would definitely have a balance at the end if that's all I paid. They actually made my minimum payment the amount that I need to pay in order to have everything paid off in 12 months. So that was good. And for this one, 2015 divided by 10,000 equals 20%. So I am at a 20% utilization, which is good. for that card. All right, and then Kohl's, the bane of my existence. Kohl's balance is $2,629. The limit is $3,000. I use it all the time, and I don't want to, and I use it, but I do. So hopefully this will stop it. My current payment is $93 a month, and the current interest rate is 30.7%. So if you look at this, and 2,629 current balance divided by the limit, yep, that's a big old whopping 88% utilization. And that's what's hurting my numbers overall. Everything else wasn't too bad. Best Buy wasn't great. But the other things kind of helped to balance it out a little bit. But that 88% is really tough. So here's what I decided to do. Now, when I saw that I had the Discover offer for the 0% balance transfer, I decided to look at these and see which of these could I comfortably move over. Although the interest rate for Kohl's is a little bit higher and the balance is a little bit higher, I decided not to tackle this one because the $2,629 is more than $200 a month for 12 months. So everybody knows $200 a month for 12 months is $2,400. And some of you guys might say, well, Monique, can't you give a little bit extra than the $200? No, I can't. And the reason why is I also have this that's in play. So I'm trying to find money where I can. So my daughter has a wonderful opportunity to go to New York and to sing at Carnegie Hall next summer with her high school. And with that, there is a certain payment plan that we have, and you can see these numbers: $300 the end of September, $450 the end of November, $300 the middle of December, $450 the beginning of January, $500 in April. So I'm trying to find and squeeze every dollar I can out of this until out of my budget, so that I can make sure I'm making these numbers. So with that said, some would even say, hey, well, you know, you're talking about what you're going to move over. If you moved over the Kohl's, you're paying $93 a month. If you add that with the $200, you feel like it's comfortable, then that would be almost $300 a month you can put towards Kohl's. No, if I free up this $93, it is to use it for my daughter to get her settled, because it is going to be a struggle to try and come up with this $2,000 for that. And that doesn't even account for ThesCon. She's also in the theater, and she's got a ThesCon that she wants to do, and that's another $500 that has to be paid by the end of December. So with that said, I decided that I am going to pay off the Best Buy first. Instead of tackling the Kohl's first, even though I owe more there, and the amount of payment that I have there, which is more money coming back into my account, and it's a higher interest rate, it isn't the one that I feel like is the smartest for me to tackle. I feel like Best Buy is the smartest for me to tackle. That payment is due on the 23rd. And so in the next day or so, this balance will be even lower, this $2,065. And if I look at just the $2,065 for right now, divided by having 12 months to pay it off interest free, then I have about $172 that I would pay every month. So I could pay $172 every month and have this paid off in the 12 months. Or if I do decide to just leave it at $200, then I might pay it off sooner. So I'm going to tackle the Best Buy first. So with that said, I knew I needed to have a zero balance before I moved to this balance transfer. So I knew I needed to get Discover down to zero so that I could take advantage of the balance transfer. And what I owed on August the 21st, a couple of days ago, I still owed $554. So I had to figure out, where am I going to get $554 so that I can get a zero balance, so that then I can take this Best Buy one and roll it over to Discover, so that I can have the 0% balance transfer for the interest and pay that off in the time, in the 12 months. Well, in comes the 52-week challenge. So I have a 52-week challenge that I was doing in order to pay off my furniture. My hope was to pay that $168 for 2 rooms to go from now until December, and all the while saving what I could for the 52-week challenge, with the hopes that at the end of the year there would be $1,378 that was available. That should pretty much match out what I needed to finish off that loan. So I have $168 that I'm paying starting in August for rooms to go. Multiply that times 6. So in the year, for the year, I would have paid from August to December, just the monthly payment would have been $1,008. In that time, I would have still been saving for my 52-week challenge. At the end of the 52 weeks, I would have had $1,378. And that would have been a total of $2,386. The amount of money that I owe for the furniture is $2,015. So it all would have worked out and matched, and I would have had a couple of extra dollars left over to put towards Corinne's, my daughter Corinne's trip. But I needed to pay off Discover. Some might say you didn't have to. If that was a zero balance transfer, this one's going to be a zero balance transfer. So it all would have been good in the wash. You wouldn't have had to worry about paying any interest. It just didn't work that way in my mind. In my mind, I needed to finish one, start another one. Finish that one, start another one. So I had my boo went in to all of my envelopes, pull all the money out while I was working. If I can insert a picture here, I will, so you can see that. It turns out I had gotten together $904. So it's $904 in all of the envelopes that I had actually stuffed. So then I said, all right, that's $904 that I have. We know I need to take $554 to pay off the Discover. That should leave me $350 to go in a sinking fund for Corinne, for her trip, right? So I'm like, okay, well then it's still a good thing for us to do that. That gives me a little bit more buffer, a little bit more money towards all of the installment payments that I have to make for her. And then this morning happened. And this morning, my toilet went out. Water everywhere. So I had to buy a toilet. So buying a toilet and delivery and installation is going to cost me $432, which means that I'm actually negative $82, meaning I have to now find $82 from somewhere to put. I'm glad that I went into my envelopes. I'm glad that I pulled all that money out. I'm glad that I put that money in the bank, and I'm glad that I paid the $554 for Discover. But before I could even move that $350 over, the toilet issue came up. I'm glad I had the majority of it. There's $82 I've now had to take from my bill account. So what I did was I took the rest of the money that I had, the $350, put it in my bill account, and I paid for the toilet out of my bill account. So I need to replace $82 in there just to make sure that I'm fully covered for that. So I'm grateful that I had it. I'm glad that part is going to be done, and they should install it within like the next week or so. So that is where we are. That's where this $554 came from here that you see. And then I'm going to roll over, and I'm going to write down maybe the 25th. I'll do it on Friday. That I should have that $2,065 for the Best Buy transferred over to Discover. My limit is $7,000. I'm going to assume, I know it won't be $200, but I know I can put $200 a month towards it. And I know my interest rate is 0%. And then if we figure that out, 2065 divided by 7,000, that equals 29.5%. So I am right at 30% utilization. And then we will wipe out this Best Buy one, which is the 43% utilization here. So this one will show a zero balance for the Best Buy. My Discover will show a balance of $2,065 come next month. and then we'll see how my utilization looks from that point. So that's the one that I'm going to tackle next. Once that one's done, I'm going to go to Kohl's at that point. And the reason why is rooms to go, 0%. They have my monthly amount tracking well, where I know I will pay it off in a year. There's no reason to pay that off earlier. I'm not getting penalized for having that in play. So, so it'll be Best Buy first. It's going to be Kohl's second around how to tackle. And then if once that's done, we want to look at what's next. I would say at that point, we'll move to Green Sky and see what we can do there. I may not have a 0% balance transfer offer in play then, but that would be how I think I'm going to tackle it going forward. So we're going to start with Best Buy, get that one in the works. Then we'll move to Kohl's, and then we'll move to Green Sky. And then what I will do is I'm going to leave this as $200 a month as the payment. I'm going to take this $75 for Best Buy that I was paying towards that, and that's going to be added to the $100 that I currently put into the sinking fund for Corinne. So that means there'll be $275 every paycheck going into that sinking fund to help cover the cost of her trip. So I'll do that $75 from one check, because I normally would have just paid that once a month, and then I'm gonna hope and pray that the money that I was collecting for the 52-week challenge, I can start to move that over there as well. So my hope is to have $75 each paycheck. One of it will come from the Best Buy, and then the Lord will provide when it comes to the second one. So we'll see. That is my semi-debt confession, I guess. I will add up the numbers just to be sure that you have those. So 2065 plus 2015 plus 2629 equals $6,709. I'm not great at this, you guys, so probably should have done that first. Okay, and this one was 0 at the time, so I'm not gonna, since that 2065, I counted it up here. So basically, I had, at the start of this video, I had $6,709 in private label credit card debt, $0 in general purpose credit card debt, and $156,456 in installment debt. So let's say 6,709 plus 156,456 equals, and maybe that's going to be my thumbnail right there. $163,165 in debt. There you go. All right, that's it. That's my plan of attack. Thanks everybody for joining. You guys have a good